Ou deixa sua bunda ardendo, ou dá tapa, 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 cara.
Welcome to Empowerment Unleashed Now, exploring your inner authority. I'm Michele Jones.
And I'm Scott Collins.
And this is the place to connect with your highest, most essential self, your most empowered self, where you can explore your inner authority and learn from others and learn more about yourself.
We talk with fascinating people from all walks of life about transformation, healing, hypnosis, astrology, physical experience of being human, and heart-centered living.
We're so thankful that you're here with us. Let's dive right on in. Hi, and welcome to Empowerment Unleashed Now, exploring your inner authority. I'm Michele Jones, and I'm here with...
Scott Collins, what's up?
Thank you, Cosmic Co-Pilot. And we're here with a new friend today, Randy Spelling. Randy, thank you so much.
Hi, it's so good to be here with you both.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We are so humbled, and it's awesome to have you with us today, Randy. And to our listeners, it's going to be an awesomely interesting day because we're going to take a deep dive into like your intuitive truth. Randy Spelling's here with us to talk about intuition, unlearning, and soul-led living. I just want to really thank everybody and welcome everybody back. Today is episode 57, but technically this is our second season. Welcome, bro. Second season.
Yes.
Here we go with Randy.
Yeah.
Off
All
to
right,
the
it's the
races.
kickoff.
Yeah.
Let's have some fun.
Yes. Randy, I was so fascinated because like I took a deep dive into learning about you. And of course, you know, so many people know you, but not you. And I'm not the first person to say this to you.
Okay, so here's a question for you. What did you think and what did you discover?
I actually felt like you were the quiet Spelling, who I thought was probably introspective because you were a Spelling, but you were quiet. So
Okay.
I was intrigued, right? And I was an educator for 12 years. So I'm always fascinated about how people present, how they learn, how they process. I'm like assessing behaviorally if somebody's very quiet, you know, but your father, you know, and mom had like tons of grace, but you were like a different being is what I was like kind of processing. Randy, this will make you laugh. And my dad came from like a Cablevision background. Like he was part of like the founding of Cablevision, right? So TVs everywhere in my house, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't like television. I didn't like the word programming. It was like this whole aversion thing, right? So I know very little except for like the big highlights of culture, right? I read more about TV than anything else. So I didn't know anything about like a phase in your life where you had addiction, right? I kind of thought of you as who you present as today. But of course, like it was just based on you being quiet and thinking, okay, your sister is she's got a lot of kids. Like she's a pretty together person to run it. Like I couldn't, right? And like you're like, okay, this is like a balanced Libra. So I was delighted that what I kind of suspected was like who you were. But I also am familiar a little bit, not on the scale of like life at the manor or anything like that, but like I have family throughout California, SoCal, the Palisades, Ojai, Napa. Like I'm familiar somewhat with the culture. So I thought you were like the quiet beetle, you know, like the one who's probably the most interesting to me, So
Yeah.
what say you about that, friend?
I would say you're right in a lot of that. I mean, it's interesting to use the word quiet even because quiet in this sense is just maybe not being as public or as out there. Although when I was a kid, I was introspective. I took everything in, very empathic, and watched and observed everything. So I guess in that sense, I was quiet, and yeah, it's just interesting where life brings you, because I had this background of growing up in Hollywood, in Los Angeles, to this bigger than life family, pretty public, forward facing, and yet I was shy. I was introspective. And then I
Yes.
had to find my place in the world within that world, which was confusing. And then the greater world beyond just the family and the fame of my father, the success of that, which is like once in a lifetime, you know. And it's like, who am I and why am I here? And I asked these questions from a very early age. And as I think you both know, and a lot of the listeners know, asking the purpose question, trying to find answers to existential questions is beautiful as a seeker. It's also profoundly painful at times, because when you can't attain an answer that you so badly want and feel that you need in your bones, there is a sense of not being in alignment and not having something that you really want. And that can be hard.
Was that knowing, do you think that toughness, that hard sometimes, Randy, based on the fact that intuitively your higher self was telling you something different? That you knew that there was some contrast there between your existence and what you felt like your soul, your purpose, higher self, whatever you want to call that element that's you, but all of you, not just this part.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting question. The way that I would answer that is, I think that I had to go through everything that I had to go through, even the feeling of being out of alignment. And I wrote this in my first book, called Unlimiting You: Step Out of Your Past and Into Your Purpose. And one of the things that I wrote, this was over 10 years ago, was as it relates to addiction of any kind, I really believe that disconnection is the same thing as addiction. Same
Mhm.
coin, just two different sides. One presents as the symptoms
Yeah.
of, and I had to feel so utterly disconnected to even experience the thing called addiction, to then know, oh, I don't want to live like this. And in fact, the only times that I really felt pure connection was from about 18 to 22, when I went through a period of reading every self-help book possible, studying metaphysics and psychology, learning how to meditate, and having these really deep, deep, profound experiences meditating. And I knew what connection felt like inside my body, in my mind, in my heart. And I think it saved my life, because if I didn't know that, I wouldn't have known the juxtaposition between being disconnected and feeling connected.
Yes.
So at my lowest, when I fell to my knees and I said, whoever can hear me, my higher self, God, my dad, I called him Pops. I was like, please, I want to go back to that. I feel that I'm here for a reason. I'm here to make an impact. I don't know how to do that, and I'm not doing that right now. And if my life is meant to do that, then please help me. If not, then take me out. I don't want to be here. I don't want to live like this. And I think swimming in those pools of disconnection and, dare I say, darkness
Yeah.
helped me to have this whole cornucopia experience to know what it's all about and go, okay, now I can really play here because I've experienced all of it. And now it's like, what's next?
Was you referenced a little there about when you're younger and being empathically sensitive. Was there any point where you remember realizing the ability to decipher the difference between what was your feelings and what was others? And did that contribute to the disconnect or not being aligned whenever you couldn't decipher what was yours, what was others? Was that how did that play out in all that for you?
Yeah, it's a great question. I did not decipher what was others and what was mine. As I think a lot of children do, they take it all on as theirs.
Yeah.
Even things that have nothing to do with them. It's like, it must be me.
Yeah.
I will take the blame for it because I can't make sense of whatever is going on. And yes, I absolutely think that contributed to using substances, because even when I started drinking, there was this level of numbness, but not just being numb to where I can't feel anything. I just wasn't so sensitive. And that was attractive to me. Like, ooh, I could be a guy, or whatever that means. Like, I don't have to care so much. I don't have to feel everything. I can just sort of have fun and play and not feel so deeply. And that was actually a relief. Ultimately, it doesn't work, and ultimately it didn't lead to where I wanted to go to. But I think it was that thing that helped me to go, it's painful and hard to be so sensitive in the world. And if I don't have to feel everything that's coming at me, hey, might as well, play around with that for a little while.
So they maybe were more like dissociative tools, helping you dissociate from not knowing. Yeah, that makes sense a lot. Do you feel like so an unhealthy dissociation, I guess, there? Sometimes it can be healthy, right? Dissociate, but I feel like maybe the understanding and definition of boundaries is a place where we can get healthier dissociations. I mean, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think when you use the clinical word dissociate, I think the association to that is unhealthy, that you're not being present, that you're dissociating from the present moment. But there's a lot of times that it's necessary to dissociate. For
I
instance, if
agree.
you're in the dental chair
Yeah.
and you're getting a cavity filled or worked on, you're like, hey, what tools do I have right now to put
Totally.
myself in a different place
Yeah.
to dissociate?
Yeah.
So I think as adults, we get to play around with this, but I think there's conscious dissociation and unconscious dissociation. And I think there's a big difference.
Yes.
We're taking ourselves out of present moment too much, then you miss the goodness of the present moment. Dissociation happens so much with grief. And I like to use grief as an example because it kind of has a mind of its own. And while people need help to go through grief, when it gets too hard, when it gets too painful, there sometimes is a stop or an off, or there is you can only cry so much and then the tears stop momentarily, or you have to deal with something. There's some distraction. We need those moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing because, I was listening to you, Randy. I guess I know what it was. You were being interviewed by Brian and Sharna
On my podcast.
on your podcast on Oldish. And it was kind of like a surprise interview. And you were talking about from in your crib And you were the only other person that I had ever really heard talk about like speaking to God and like kind of feeling some intuition from such like an early age, right? Because like I just kind of came with that barometer. It's not like my family installed it in me. It just
Right.
was there for me.
You were born with it.
Yeah. And I thought it was interesting because as I was listening, what I heard you say is that that was a form of an intuitive communication for you from a very early age. You knew you had intuition and it was supported in your family, the exploration of it, you know. I think it's interesting because, excuse me, I had a similar experience. My father was forward thinking and was into Ram Dass and transcendental meditation. And he knew that I was a little bit of a different being. And he honored a lot of that. But there is a point where when you're going out to clubs with your friends and you're, dancing and you're going to try to sneak into places, like you're using your intuition for different things. So I remember taking what was a spiritual, like left turn, right? And I was using my intuition to keep myself safe as a kid. And for me, thank God, addiction was not my reality, right? It was the reality of many that were around me. And still many that openly, I have a sister-in-law openly in recovery. She talks about it. It's incredible. But one of the things that I'm so curious about, because I think that folks that have had addiction are some of the most sensitive, creative, intelligent people that I've ever met. Where did you feel like your intuition at that stage, Randy? Where was your intuition when you were in the height of your addiction?
I think it was more dormant, not gone. The power of the volcano is still there and
Yeah.
can erupt and build islands, but it
Yeah.
had to go dormant for a while.
Yeah.
And I wholeheartedly believe that it had to go dormant for
Yes.
me to have that deep dive experience into addiction, because if it didn't, I would have been guided. I would have known not to do that, but I I couldn't access it in the way that I can now because everything was just so cloudy. And for me, I think this happens to a lot of people too. I was in therapy and it was great. I loved the therapist that I work with, but the ones that I found myself just repeating things over and over and over again. I was repeating stories from the past. I was repeating these painful patterns and cycles, and it was just going round and round. And then I was bouncing within the circle of the pattern and was stuck and couldn't get out. Then you add on addiction to that, and that was a closed loop. It just kept me circling in that pattern. So it was your question about where did your intuition go, how did it was there though a few weeks before that moment where I said I sort of fell to my knees. I remember sitting at a club, and it was the top level. I was up with my friend who I had frequently gone out to nightclubs with and drink in hand. It was like a tequila or something. And, I'm sure we were inebriated, but there was this moment where we were talking. And I said to him, I was looking around and I just said, "What are we doing? Like, what is this?" You have that moment of awareness where I just looked and it looked like I was in a movie, but this was not my movie. And I just thought, is this my life? Are we going to continue to do this for the next 2, 3, 5 years? This is ridiculous. I don't want to do this. And that, I think, was my intuition. just tapping, that moment of awareness that said, look at this, but you're not going to look at it the way that you always look at it, which is, what are you going to get out of this? You know, who are you going home with? It wasn't transactional. It was a pulled back bird's eye view to look at the whole scope and say, is this the song that you want to keep hearing on repeat over and over? And my answer was no. And because I answered it no, I think it set into motion a few weeks later that real epiphany moment that I had, where I fell to my knees and asked, and that question was the catalyst that put something into motion for massive change.
Yeah. That kind of unraveling, that kind of unlearning in that moment, that lightning when it strikes, right? Talk about being thunderstruck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are we all dormant? Like, do we all come into this flesh suit with dormant intuition?
Oh, Scott, it's such a good question, because I think everyone says yes. We all have this. Do I think that we all have the intelligence and the capability? Yes, I do. I don't think that we're all meant, everyone on the planet is meant to experience their intuition in the ways that we're talking about, though. And the reason why is, if someone is meant to have the experience of addiction, let's say, and they go out, they leave the planet because of addiction, then one has to say, if you believe that some things are meant to be and not everything in the universe is random, they weren't meant to experience that intuition, because if that was online, if that was fully working, they wouldn't experience the level of disconnection that they experienced to go through addiction and ultimately leave the planet. So yes, I believe that it's all there for us. I mean, we have the universe in ourselves. So I think that we have the material. However, not everyone is meant to. But I just have to clarify this, because I think people might be listening and going, oh no, what if I'm not meant to?
Am I one of those?
You are not the one that I'm speaking to. If you are listening to this, then you are online and coming online. You would not be listening to this podcast without being able to access that.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath, bro. Take a deep breath.
Yeah. No, that's great. I agree.
You have intuitive moments, don't you, Scott?
Oh my God. It's your life. What is
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would agree, especially those that are listening to this. I think it's just a matter of remembering it. I think we all, it's like, it's in there. That crystalline structure in our pineal gland is ready to come on. And it's just, it's not something that we actually, for those of us that you're referring to, it's not something we have to learn or aspire to or achieve or acquire. It's actually just something we have to remember. It's there.
But I think you do have to just remember it, Scott, but I'm going to tell you this too. I had to unlearn my fear to talk about this.
Oh, sure.
Like, do you think that, like, and I'm sure that my dad is not listening to this, because that's one of the true confessions that came out. But like, if my dad like knew that I thought that like I met you like on Mintonka, and that like you and I were siblings from the westernmost like belt of Orion star, my father would be like, did that happen in one of those sweat lodges in Costa Rica? Like, really? Right? And so like to me, like you have to unlearn, like that's an intuitive thing. I didn't want to know that. Like, we've joked around, Randy, like I'm not going to say I don't want to really get weirder. Like sometimes when like I've had like readings and stuff and they're like, yeah, and you're going to die as like this physician, like an Aquarius. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like I have to get weirder? And that's an unlearning, right? Because
Mhm.
I want to fit in with the herd a little bit.
Or even maybe a sharpening of the blade and like a
Yeah.
tuning of the instrument more refined is how I like to look at it. Like a good way for the intuition to cultivate further is does this feel this person here, does it feel like someone I can talk to Mintaka about? Talk about Mintaka. Or is this
Totally.
someone I could is this that's a really good way to place to start for listeners. Like just each person you're with, how does it what's my intuition tell me about how vulnerable or how far I can go with talking about things like this or not? Like your intuition tells you that a lot via your feelings.
Do you do that, Randy, with yes and no's? Like, do you like check in, like, okay, is this a yes or a no, this person? Like, when you meet a new person, like you were asking us, like, our language, like your nomenclature, like, what's your
Yeah.
talk?
Yeah. So I get to practice this all the time, having coached people and worked with people in depth for the last 18 years. It's really helped me to understand who is in front of me or who's on the call or who's on Zoom, right? And when I'm speaking to certain groups, certain people, a lot of this nomenclature doesn't come into play, a lot of this verbiage. Some groups, I can go completely there. And I think people are like, oh, whoa, he can really go there. But you're right, Scott, like having a level of discernment. And the thing is you can be you authentically no matter who you're in front of and where you go. But the question is, are you okay doing that? And a lot of people, you may not want to share all of the pieces and what past life you've had with someone or where you've lived. It might not be important in that moment to share that for you or for the other person. So having discernment as to what you share and when, I think is a really valuable tool to have.
I agree.
Invaluable.
Well put. Very well put.
Yes.
Especially in Scorpio season, like that is right there, sums it all up.
It
Like,
totally
yeah.
does. Like, I think that what resonated for me, and you know this about me, Scott, but with you, Randy, was your quiet.
Mhm.
Because that's pretty much how I've shown up. Like, the podcast is the first place that, like, I talk about this. Like I have clients and people that I coach and people that I work with and family that, like, they haven't seen this part, you know?
Yeah. So what led you to now, right now at this time? I know it started a little while ago
Yeah.
to come out, to share this part of you because you've been quiet.
For me, it was I almost died. I had a really significant awakening, healing from something that almost took me out. And kind of my whole thing was I have to be me after all of that. Like I have like a soul contract that I'm supposed to, again, know my audience, right? Here it's okay to talk about this, but there are parts of my life that I'm very, very quiet about still in a lot of places and spaces. Like, how did I heal? What have I done? I mean, Scott, you know that about me, that as much as I might talk on this, it's about other people most of the time and, how to help others. But I think that almost getting snuffed out by, like an illness really, it supported me in feeling like, wow, okay, I get to be me for me. That was my aha, I also think that, I can look back now and I can say, oh, my Chiron return, like my wounding and like my I am, finally I could authentically heal that and that I had the right to live as me, as the unicorn that I've chosen to be.
Yes. Do you think that part of you being authentically you and sharing this journey with others and on here helps that healing?
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah, because it's like, you know, you give and you receive. Like, it's just such this back and forth. Like, I didn't, like, Scott and I started this, right? Like, as like an offering, right? Like, that was like what we were doing, bro. Like, we were just like, okay, like, let's make some music together for a minute and see how it goes. And like, just offer people like what we've learned. Cause Scott's walked through some stuff also. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, and yeah, I think that that's really, do you think that's a fair answer, Scott? I mean, you've asked me those questions.
No, for sure. I mean, like, yeah, the way to truly embody and feel something the most is to teach it. You know, I like that's how you really like discover things on a deeper level. Like I feel like I have mostly been very open about all this stuff. I've kind of just been okay with being eccentric and weird, but it's always been more on the black market, on the down low, on the
Mm-hmm.
indie,
On the indie
on the
scene.
like no social medias, no word of mouth style
Yeah, yeah.
in Nashville.
Exactly.
But like in Nashville, word of mouth, they know that about me. So, but so this is definitely going public, so to speak, still. But that's where I'm grateful for Michele. Like it was her idea for us to go public. And it was right on time, and it was too. Like both of us around the Chiron return times, it felt purposeful and dutiful to bring the wounded healer element like on full display, pay it forward.
Yes.
I think of the Gen Xers with like a Superman shirt, but like it's like an X.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, I imagine for so many people listening, they are going through their own transitions right now. They're going through their own awakenings. And I use that word lightly in the sense of sometimes ending something and beginning something new is an awakening. And it's really a sense of freedom. I mean, you almost dying and being snuffed out, as you said, and then being like, I'm gonna share this.
Yeah.
It's a sense of freedom. You're freeing yourself. I think you use the word unlearning, but like you're freeing yourself to actually be more embodied in who you are. Not who you felt you were supposed to be, but who you are. And I think for everyone listening, like we're all kind of going through that in our own way, and it's happening more and more. And this is what we all want to get to. It doesn't mean, by the way, when you're like, do I have to get weirder? My perspective on this is the world is already really freaking weird and getting weirder. And we are also just becoming more embodied. But I think what has happened is 30 years ago, when I was into this stuff and talking about this stuff, everyone thought I was nuts.
I know.
Like my friends were like, oh, there's Randy with these, you know, green and gold books and reading this thing, and he's meditating and he has candles lit and crystals.
Crystals. Yeah.
And now we're having these conversations on podcasts, and there's many of them happening, and people are listening, and there's audience, and they're going through the same things. So collectively, this is happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it so is.
The collective shift, right? So like now it's no longer weird. It's actually just the more we lean into it, it's more about uniqueness. Like the more uniquely us we can be, the more the definition of unique, right? And that, you know, to bring astrology into it, like to me, that is like the epitome of the age of Aquarius too, with Pluto moving into Aquarius. It's like it's what the collective and the universe wants us just to be more uniquely us. So the more we can really bring that into shape and focus, it's the better.
Yes.
Weird. It's the new weird. It's no longer weird.
No, it's authenticity, right? And I
Yeah,
think that
yeah.
the unlearning I was referencing, like Dr. Joe, right? Like you just were in conversation with like Joe
Yeah.
Dispenza, and you know, having studied NLP, hypnosis, doing coaching, like any of those like week-long transformational experiences that you can do that just create an entirely upgraded version of you from a cellular to a spiritual to an auric level is so profound. But there's like a part of you that has to also, we're finishing up Scorpio season. This will come out in Sag season. But there's a part of you that has to die also, right? There are these parts not serving. And I think, Randy, that's one of the most interesting things is as an adult, like when you find your own identity, right? Like I can't even imagine the scale of the last name. And you come from a family that has an incredible reputation. You come from a good family. And being able to just find Randy in all of that. Like I was thinking about that, as just like little Michelle Jones and like finding myself without the public element. And you've been the quiet one, right? Like intentionally. And to be able to like coach people from such a place of visibility where so many eyes are watching you, and to be able to step into one's own authenticity and say, none of those eyes matter. What matters is what's coming from me. When did you finally step into that, Randy?
It was a culmination. It wasn't just one moment. It was so many little moments. It was getting help with my addiction and finally going, okay, like falling to my knees that one night and asking. That was one. And then following whatever guidance I got to then go to this, treatment facility. I researched a bunch and I was like, ooh, that one. That's what I need. And then all these other moments that have happened where I just sort of followed this guidance system, this inner guidance system. And it started to come online more and more as I cleared away some of the cobwebs, as I stopped, drinking, using whatever, anything. And as I started to do some integration and healing work with parts of my past, that started to like take the edge off. And so all of the noise that was always there started to come down enough so where I was like, wait a second, what's that? And I said earlier, coaching has been a blessing, and it really has changed my life because working with other people, and it's always easier to give advice to someone, to say something, to let them know what they need. In terms of intuition, it was always harder for me to get my intuitive answers. But for people where I'm neutral, I have no charge on it, I can show up in session and I'm receiving all sorts of information that I'm sharing with them, and I'm reading them and I'm understanding what's going on. So in that moment, I can share with them. Hold on. My dog is barking.
So something that happens to us, right, Scott?
Yeah.
Like the dog is barking.
I might have to go let her out. One second.
Absolutely.
Don't worry.
No, what I love about it is that the intuition, when Randy was talking about when he was in the height of his addiction and it was like dialed way down, and then listening to like that there's a range of experiences that was starting to dial it back up. Right? Like to me, intuition isn't like an accessory. It's like your operating system, right? That's like what Randy was just saying.
And also a full recognition and accountability that sometimes the hardest place to receive it is when it's with ourselves.
Within ourselves.
Because like it usually accompanies feelings, like strong feelings, and that
Yeah.
even though feelings are our biggest source of information and data, we tend to like, oh, it's
Totally.
hard to receive and like that. Yeah. So that was I loved that insight, Randy. We were just talking about you.
We were just talking about you while you were laying out the dog.
I heard a little bit, and yeah, when there's feelings involved and emotion. I mean, I remember, quick example, I was trying to make a decision about my daughter's school and what school she was going to go to.
Oh,
And we had
yeah.
two choices. And this felt like the biggest decision in the world. Her future's hanging in the balance. And my logical mind has played it out so many different ways that I knew the gig is up. I can't run numbers of the future anymore. I'm spinning out. I had to trust my intuition, and I had like 3 hours of this whole intuitive process, and I did many different things, but it took me sitting down, getting quiet, and going through all these different exercises to access my intuition versus when someone's in front of me, I could be intuitive and allow that to happen. Scott, you use the word remember, and I so agree with that. Like, we're just remembering. This is our normal divine nature.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to learn so much as allow. And the key to open that lock of allowance is trust, is to just trust more and more. When you ask, trust that an answer is coming, and it will come to you in so many different creative ways. You know, look for the signs, go inward, do some automatic writing or some picture drawing, or sit with someone and just ask, what would be important to know right now? What's the next question that I should ask? What would really make a difference for them? And see what comes. We have so many opportunities to practice throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. That totally lands because just connecting with another at that soul led level, it starts to really grow that muscle.
It does.
And that to me, intuition, it's a consciousness, it's a perception, it's an operating system that just like working out, when you start a new routine, it's a new muscle group, different components to the intuition, like learning. Are you clairsentient? Are you clairaudio? Are you clairkinesthetic? Like, I have teachers that have like helped me to learn these things because for me, I just personally thought everybody had it. But then I started to realize people didn't. And then I was like, well, I don't want it. If other people don't have it, I'll just dial it way down. Then you start to become curious. And that soul-led living to me is when you can connect with another being, like how Scott and I realize intuitively we grow that muscle together when we, speak a language that maybe all of our other friends don't speak, right? It's just those opportunities to connect that I think really bring the empowerment from within. At least for me, I don't do well in a bubble with just my own head. I have to
Most people don't.
Mm-hmm.
I have to confirm, hey, is this where you're at? Is this part of your reality?
Well, and is sometimes is it okay also when we're looking for intuitive hits, but there's nothing there. It's sometimes no action is an action too, right? I mean, how do you feel about that, Randy? Like
Yes.
sometimes it's like, okay, if there's nothing, it's okay for me to be still until I receive.
Yeah.
Right.
Scott,
Sometimes.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm actually really glad you brought that up because a lot of times that does happen.
Right.
And I think people then judge and question and go, "Oh, I'm not
that," or try to force it or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and look, I will be the first to admit I really don't do well with uncertainty. I don't like it. I don't know if it's the Libra in me. I don't know. I just don't like sitting in uncertainty. If there's question marks all around, I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I do?
Totally.
So that being said, there are times where if I ask for an answer and I'm not getting it quite yet, here's where the trust comes in. If you haven't gotten it yet, you were not meant to get it yet. There's another day. There's another 4 days. There's something else you have to experience. Something else is being orchestrated in the background to come to you in such a way where you're going to go, oh, okay, now I get the confirmation. And the fun part is when we do get these confirmations. Like, for instance, the other day I woke up Sunday morning and I'm thinking about Southern California, Orange County specifically. And I'm thinking, well, I haven't spent much time there. Why haven't I spent much time there? It's beautiful down there. If I had to live back down in Southern California, would I live in, Los Angeles? Would I live in like the Orange County? I mean, I'd like to live by the beach. I'm having this whole dialogue all the while going, why am I thinking about this? I have no clue why I'm thinking about this at all. This is so weird. This is so foreign, but I'm entertaining it. And I'm sort of like answering these questions and looking at these images. Cut to 4 hours later, I go to the store because I need to get something. And a person I talk to in the store who works there all the time, we're talking about various things. And about 12, 15 minutes later, we say bye. And he goes, oh, wait, Randy, I have a random question for you. I said, what? What's that? He says, have you spent much time in Southern California? You're a Southern California guy. Have you gone down to Orange County area? And I said, how come? And he said, I don't know, like last night and then again this morning, my wife and I were talking about leaving the kids for a few days and going down there just to connect, to have a quick vacation. And we were wondering, you popped up and we thought, oh, Randy's a Southern California guy. He's from there. Maybe I should ask him. So, I'm seeing you today. To me, that is how we are all connected.
Yes.
That is what's happening so much of the time. But it was just a beautiful confirmation that I got. And I get these so much of the time having coached people. People are sharing their life stories with me and they're like, oh my God, Randy, you're not going to believe this. I'm like, okay, bring it on.
Well, I'll add something interesting to that.
Yeah,
it's funny because
do.
as Michele mentioned, I'm a musician. I just released a new record a couple weeks ago, an acoustic album, and it's called Capistrano Beach. You know where that's at?
Yeah.
Right by Orange, right where you're talking about. It was about.
And I'm sharing this story on your podcast.
Exactly.
For the first time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't make this up. That's what I'm saying.
Can't make this shift up.
Let this be a confirmation for all of us listening. Maybe that's why this story even came in.
Yeah.
Is we get these confirmations that there is a design, there is an orchestration. Thank you for helping me make the point of trusting. We just have to trust.
Yes.
It's all happening. So when you ask for something, from a purity of heart, and it's not just like, hey, I need a new car. When you're really asking to be put in the position for your highest good, that you really want an answer, that it's genuine, trust wholeheartedly that an answer will come, and you will get confirmations if you're looking for them. You will get them, sometimes in fun ways like this that can't be ignored, where you just become awe-inspired by them.
Oh, yes. Randy, thank you. We're just going to have to kick you off because you told us that you needed to be done and that you have another appointment, and we want you to trust us and know that our hearts, we are so thankful to have shared time and space with you. Thank you. We might need to I can tell Scott's writing down questions. We might need to ask you for a part two. But we thank you, and we don't want to take more of your time, Randy.
Yeah.
Coaching, spelling coaching. How do people reach you, Randy? Tell us.
Thank you for asking. It was such a pleasure to sit and share space with you both and talk with you. Really, thank you for doing this subject matter, for getting weirder, and for just being you. Randy Spelling is my website. Randy Spelling is also my Instagram handle. I'm pretty active on there. Those are two main places you can find
Right
me.
on.
And
Yes.
yeah, we'll have to do this again sometime.
And
Yeah.
your podcast,
Very
Old Ish.
And my podcast, Old Ish. Yep.
Thank
Anywhere where
you.
you listen to podcasts and on YouTube.
Awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Randy. We're going to let you jump, and we appreciate you. Deep bow, blessings, and happy holidays.
Thank you. You
Thanks.
both too.
Thanks,
Take
guys.
Be
care.
with you. Thank you now. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, bro.
That was awesome.
There we are. We did it with Randy. So
Sure
let's
did.
do some affirmations, because we had to let precious Randy skedaddle.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like we just really, Sag season, intuition. I mean, Sages are like the people that travel the world based on their intuition, right? Like they're the philosophers of the zodiac. Like they bring that consciousness.
Yeah, I agree. And the expansiveness of allowing it to continue to morph into whatever aspect or part of your life you need it to. I don't know. That was an incredible interview. Are we still rolling?
Yeah, I was like,
I didn't know what we were doing here.
what did you say?
I don't know if we were still rolling or not.
We're
but-
still rolling. This meeting is still being recorded. We're in the afternotes, bro. We haven't done that for a minute, but
Yeah.
I just really one of the things that I loved learning about Randy is that when people I can't even imagine, we didn't even ask him any of the I of course, and you'll appreciate this. This is why we like each other. I didn't want to ask him any of the cliche things. What was it like growing up in spelling manner? That kind of thing, right? Because to me, who you are is not what you do, and it's not who you came from. And the soul connection that I felt to him when I started to read about Randy and listen to some of his story and stuff, it was just a really interesting place, because I was like, you know what? None of this stuff matters anymore. When you're not in the meat suit. And I was just thinking about that larger soul group. And I remembered when you and I, do you remember when we prayed for our family of frequency and light?
Yes.
Is that 4 years ago that we did that in Sag season, or 5?
I'm thinking it was 4 probably.
4.
Yeah.
Where would we have been that we were doing that 4 years ago, astrologically? What would have made us energetically have chosen that time, bro? Do you have that reflection?
I mean, if it was right around this time, if it was Sagittarius season, I feel like we were wanting.
It was right before your birthday.
Then that would have been Sagittarius season, yeah. If it wasn't Capricorn yet, I think it was Sag, because we were wanting to expand our web,
right.
our family, our family of light,
Family of light.
What we are feeling and experiencing, and if there are others on the same wavelength,
Yes.
can we attract ourselves to them, and vice versa? Because I think a lot of us we're starting to remember that is our soul contract for a lot of us right now.
Yeah. Wasn't it about light language too?
Yeah, we listened to light language before.
Yes, before we did that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, bro. Well, yeah, I had to take it back, because literally, and I don't know if you've noticed this, but the last few days here in Middle Tennessee, the light it didn't feel like November light. It felt like it was like April or May. It felt like spring light. It was so bright.
Yes, I agree.
The sun has been like just incredibly bright.
Yeah.
And I'm really observing, and I'm just really grateful, for this time now and our family of light and the people that are showing up.
Me too.
And so I just wanted to have gratitude as we kind of enter this holiday season. I do know that Santa did actually send me and you a letter.
Oh boy.
And it was
Is it a naughty or nice letter?
it was kind of wondering how we had been doing. And if we wanted before things got too crazy for him. And so I said that we would talk about it, but that we had some other things we had to do, like interview Randy Spelling before Santa. So yeah, we'll get to Santa probably in a few weeks.
Yeah. It's
And
that
since
time of the year.
since 'tis the season, what I was wondering too, bro, because so I'm gonna just kind of be a little bit ambiguous, but since we have a guest that's coming on that doesn't talk to people except the topic that this guest founded, I was hoping that you could possibly find some musical genius that wouldn't want to talk to me because I don't know anything about music.
Yeah.
And maybe like
Well,
maybe Justin would have to like sub for me, like your brother. Like he would have to like guest host because I felt my Libra felt so imbalanced because I wanted this opportunity for us, right? The
yeah.
person that's this opportunity. But some of the so I came up with that when I was actually in conversation with your brother. I was like, this would be really cool. So think of like a fancy
Well,
schmancy,
yeah, and also like, well,
like
again,
a
to be
maestro.
like cryptic, but like there are people, once they're on the other side of things, could come share their stories that could be interesting.
You could use like
Also, I wouldn't be a poet, but I know you would be. It
what?
would feel like a little. Um, it would be sad, but the interview that Tom and I did by ourselves, I would not be opposed to going super geeky astrology with Tom again.
That
Just me
you
and
could ask
him.
him for that for
We could
Christmas.
like have some wine or something and do it
You
even.
could ask him
Maybe
for that
tomorrow.
for Christmas.
Yeah, yeah, that's a
That's
good
something that
idea.
you and Tom could do.
Yeah,
You guys could do like a
that went
Friday
well.
night together by the fireplace, just
You
you and
can
Tom.
sleep in again.
I'll sleep in. I'll do a session with Tom and he'll put me in a trance and then I'll be asleep for 4 hours. I'll sleep through it. Yeah, no, that
We
would be
haven't had
cool.
any musical guests, have we? But there is one, Noah, that reads tarot,
Oh my.
and she's a great musician. I'm going to just say her name out there, Scout Niblet. If you can get her on this show, that would be killer. We can talk tarot and rock and roll.
See, that would be great.
Yeah, that sounds like a good
Yeah.
That would be great. See, I'd be useless.
And I already gave you a couple lofty ones the other night at dinner, Noah.
Yes,
Two,
sir. I'm
bring on the Bitcoin people.
Yes. Mike Saylor, for sure.
Michael Saylor, too. We want you.
My God. Don't want to scare him. Just want you to talk on the podcast.
I just want to talk, dude.
That's all. Just a little
Yeah.
bit.
We vibe with
All right. Are we going to do some affirmations?
Sure. Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's roll out.
I am intuitive by right. I trust that in each moment I know all that I need to know. I am in gratitude that I remember this. I am in gratitude that I can trust my gut, y'all.
Beautiful. Yes, let's all let that settle into the body. Thank you, Scott. And Randy, we know you're on to your next meeting, but thank you for your honesty, your depth, your humor, your presence, the gift of you. Pretty much, I'm just so thankful to all the listeners. We find this like opportunity to just share time and space with you a little bit each week, truly a gift. It's not just something we give, there's a lot that we get. So thank you guys so much. And until next time, unleash that empowerment right now. There's never been a better time. Thank you. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Empowerment Unleashed Now. Please subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform and let us know how this helped you.
Join us right here every week for another episode.